Conference play just started, so it's time to get back into the full swing of the 2026 NBA draft cycle. Here are 4 prospects who I think are being slept on, but deserve to be talked about a lot more. This is Floor and Ceiling. Let's break them down. Let's start off with KEATON WAGLER from Illinois, although he's certainly been getting a lot more attention lately. Wagler first stood out to me simply because he was completely untouted coming into the season, but he quickly began playing a lot of minutes on a stacked team. That has continued, and what I like the most about him is his decision making. Wagler makes very few mistakes, and he always seems to be operating under control. In conference play, he's posting a 2.2 assist to turnover ratio while spending more time on the ball than ever and remaining just as productive. I'm not sure Wagler makes any home run decisions, although he's had some nice passes, but I really just trust how he can connect events on the floor while keeping his turnovers low. In terms of scoring, Wagler has largely hinged on his three-pointer. More than half of his shots are threes, but he's making them at a scorching clip. In conference play, he's drilled 45.5% of his triples while shooting nearly 12 per 100 possessions. Wagler's free throw numbers are also really encouraging here, and for now, the one big area where I have concerns on offense is how he gets to the rim. At around 6'6", Wagler has decent positional size for a ball handler, but he's very skinny and he doesn't have much muscle definition yet. Then he doesn't dunk the ball at all, basically, and he doesn't always create daylight for himself when he attacks the basket. That might be limiting, and I think it's worth pointing out, but at the same time, it is worth noting that Wagler can offset this by how often he's getting to the line. This physicality and willingness to play with contact and create free throws bodes really well for him going forward. Plus, I believe that Wagler definitely has some counters from the mid-range. He likes to get into a jumper around the free throw line in particular, and we've seen that time and time again this season. My main knock on the Illinois prospect is that he doesn't really offer anything on defense right now. Wagler is not creating events off the ball, and he's not impactful on the ball either due to his below average twitch, pop, and strength. In turn, all of this ends up creating a somewhat odd profile for Wagler that is worth really evaluating and thinking about. He's not creating dunks or stocks at all, really, but his unorthodox athleticism and his funky movement patterns look functional to me. I'll be monitoring to see how Wagler's finishing and defense evolve over the rest of the season. Plus, I would definitely like to see more nuance and manipulation with his on-ball reps, even though I trust his ability to make the right read. But for now, Wagler is a prospect who I feel very comfortable with around the top 20 or 25 range. I had Malachi Moreno as a lottery pick in my first board of the cycle, so for me, he's not a sleeper, but I looked around and I haven't seen him on any mainstream big boards really. Moreno remains around that range for me. His season overall has been impressive, but it's his start in conference play that has been particularly remarkable. The Kentucky freshman is rebounding on both ends, finishing his plays without needing too many touches, and displaying the high feel that he already showed in high school. Moreno has posted a 2.8 assist to turnover ratio in conference play so far, which is great, and so is his 10.8 box plus minus. Then, I think we really need to talk about Moreno's defense. Now, his measurements, twitch, and pop, they'll never really stand out in a vacuum. But I think that because of that, he's somehow being slept on with regards to that end of the floor, even though his production has been outstanding. Even if we just look at the numbers, Moreno has a 9.1 block rate, and then what I'm truly focusing on is this. Moreno is posting a 2.2 steal rate for the whole season, But when looking at just conference games, that has gone up to a 3.3 steal rate. That's really unique for centers, and the tape backs up his standout numbers. Moreno is disruptive and highly capable. I think that he's going to be able to fit different coverages, and even though I don't think he's some sort of super switchy defender when it comes to guarding across different positions, I really trust him and I value what he brings on this end. In terms of questions, Moreno's free throw numbers are pretty poor. Ideally, he would be shooting closer to 70%, which isn't really happening, and he hasn't taken any threes either. This isn't something that I need, but I would ideally want it. The Kentucky prospect actually has some touch from the mid-range in my opinion, but before anything else, he needs to make his foul shots. Finally, I think there will always be some valid questions over Moreno not being very long or jumping very high, but with regards to that, I'm going to emphasize here, I don't think that those real physical concerns impact his game on either end too much. Kentucky's season has been a struggle, but I'm still very high on Moreno, and that top 15 or even close to that lottery range still feels right to me. Alabama freshman Amari is hovering around the top 25 range of my board, but that is a fairly precarious spot. I'm not too sure that freshmen are going to stay in the NBA draft in the short term unless they're basically guaranteed to go in that top 20, top 25 range, and Allen still has questions to answer. Let's start with what I like though, which is his connectivity, scalability across contexts, and ability to make multiple efforts while having really solid positional size and feel. Similar to KEATON Wagler, even though Allen is bigger and stronger, I just trust what he's going to do out there. Allen has flashed some enticing passing reads while drilling his threes. I'll be keeping an eye on his perimeter shot though, but I do believe in it for the most part. What I mean is that I think Allen is a good shooter, but I'm not convinced yet that he's a great shooter. His volume is improvable, and his free throw numbers are just fine. Then, I'll admit that I am a little concerned about his 2-point scoring, especially as of late. I'm mostly referring to Allen's finishing here since he doesn't take many shots from the mid-range. Since I view the Alabama freshman as more of a connective piece, I actually don't mind the lack of mid-range shots, but I would want to see his production at the basket tick up. He has 0 dunks in conference play so far, and he's only made 50% of his shots near the rim, again on improvable volume. One could make a valid argument here that Allen's lack of twos indicates a lack of counters, which honestly might be true, but before anything else, he needs to focus on his finishing. I just mentioned KEATON Wagler, and I have Allen in a similar range, but comparing the two, I believe in Allen's defensive projection much more. He can still play out of control sometimes, but I think that can be attributed to his youth and really high energy levels. Once Allen can be a bit more disciplined and contain his efforts, so to speak, he should be switchable and hard to shake off. The Alabama freshman isn't super long, but he's mobile, athletic, and covers space. Here, I'll also take the chance to mention that I'm a big believer in Allen's rebounding. On the offensive glass, he extends possessions, and then on the other end of the floor, he closes them out on defense. Again, this is due to his size and effort, because it's not like Allen is overly long or massively twitchy. If I had to put out a board tomorrow, Allen would be around that top 25 range, but I kind of think it's still too early to tell how his season will shake out, so the chance of him being a returner is pretty real. Pryce Sandfort from Nebraska is a second-round target for me. He's sort of a niche player in that he's a lethal 3-point shooting weapon who then leverages that perimeter threat into pretty much everything else that he brings to the table. Now, the disclaimer here is that Sandfort is not going to defend, rebound, or handle that much, maybe even at all. But he's great at what he does do. Obviously, that starts from downtown. Sandfort is launching nearly 17 threes per 100 possessions during conference play, which honestly is just ridiculous. But what's even more insane is that he's made nearly 48% of those triples. If we zoom out and look at the whole season, Sandfort's numbers remain pretty similar, and I think that any look at his profile or past will prove that it's not like he's just on a hot streak. He truly is an amazing three-point shooter. From there, Sandfort can attack a closeout logically and make the right play off the catch. For instance, you can run him off a curl or off a screen, and that will probably produce a good result. Sandfort is not a high-volume passer, but he barely coughs the ball over, and he can definitely read the floor as he leverages his gravity from deep. Watching these clips, I'm sure you guys will be able to tell that Sandfort's superpower evidently is not his athleticism. He has one dunk for the season, and he doesn't get himself to the free throw line at all, basically. But still, Sandfort finishes the shots that he gets at the rim through his craft and his timing. He really understands how to get the most of what he does. Like I said, Sandfort is a second-round target for me. I view him in that Duncan Robinson or Isaiah Joe mold of player who I believe can always stick around in the league because they're just so damn good at what they do. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment with any sleepers that you think I may have missed or with thoughts on all of these sleepers. Make sure to subscribe to the Floor and Ceiling Substack, and if you enjoy the channel, make sure to subscribe there as well. Work and life has been busy for me lately, but as we roll towards the last months of the college basketball season and the NBA draft, I will be back uploading now on a regular weekly basis, starting this week with a scouting report on Michigan and Spain center Alaimara. Take care, and I'll catch you guys next time.